Hi everyone, and welcome to the Libra December 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. And what does that mean? That means that in today's reading, as well as all content on this channel, we look at what are areas of who you are uniquely that need to be expressed and discovered and illuminated so that you can better see your personal path and purpose and get closer to those feelings of emotional fulfillment that come when we see where we fit and can be of service to the greater collective experience. That's our individual spiritual importance. So as I go ahead here, I'm going to go and pull some cards to start your reading. We're going to be looking at a challenge that Spirit is asking you to face and overcome in the month of December to unlock something specific about yourself. Now we're going to dive deeper into the challenge. We're going to pull clarifiers and get advice from Spirit as to how to overcome it, and then really dive into what you are going to be unlocking about yourself. So, right off the bat, we have the Four of Swords. So this is the energy that you're bringing into the month of December, Libra, which it's an energy that actually fits your superpower, Libra, which is really harnessing the energy of the mind. Swords in the tarot represent air. Air is associated with the mind. So when this initially fell out of the deck, I instantly heard time to clear out the clutter. And I think for many of you, you're clearing out mental clutter. You're clearing out all of those kind of the wounding thoughts that continually replay in our mind that hide our ability to really understand our truth and work with our truth. So this is also a card of rest and rejuvenation. It's one where we get to kind of just silence everything around us. And since this is your internal energy, this can be even just where you're silencing yourself, where you're just saying, okay, it's time to cut out those judgmental thoughts that come through where I'm constantly criticizing myself, or I'm constantly thinking that the negative something is going to happen because of a story that played in the past. And in your external environment, you have the Four of Pentacles, which is interesting because that's a card that really speaks to being at a stable point physically. You can see the individual has 4 coins, one for each. Basically, he has one on his head, but it's kind of one for each hand and one for each foot. So it's a starting line, a secure foundation in the physical. But it's also a card where we are holding ourselves back. So I think this is going to be a month that's going to be really revelation-wise. It's going to be illuminating for you as to where perhaps you've been holding yourself back in the physical in some way. Now, this can be possibly why you are taking this month to rest, this month to kind of really clear out the mental clutter and say, what thoughts can I get rid of that no longer serve me? And how can I get clear on who I am at this point? And how can I start to think from that place, but also express from that place, from a place of confidence and strength? And I think that's what's going to really show you in your physical where you've been holding back in doing something. Now, what you're unlocking about yourself this month, if you choose to really dive into the challenge that we're looking at and, kind of overcome some blocks here, we have the Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords is the energy of, it could almost be kind of like the energy of like a truth bomb, or somebody who comes in and just verbal vomits their truth or their opinion or their idea. But it can also be one of communication. Now, I find it interesting how these two cards, the Knight of Swords and Death, how they're coming together here, just in the way that they're laid out on the table. It's almost like a part of you had wanted to kind of come in and face death head on. And I'm not talking about death as literal death, meaning that you had to face, let's say, a moment where you were, literally in the physical faced with a life or death scenario. This is where we kind of almost don't want to face letting go of an old version of ourselves, or letting go of of something in our experience that will allow us to transform. Because in between these two cards is the 10 of Cups. Beautiful energy. This is the energy of really experiencing that level of emotional fulfillment that comes when we have been granted the ability to almost touch a little bit of heaven on earth for ourselves. And when you have so much to be grateful for and abundant on that emotional level, you have enough also to share with others. So that's why often this could be called kind of the happy family card, because it shows individuals being able to share that emotional wealth. But there can be something here, I think, where either there had been a conversation that had happened or a truth around a revelation as to kind of a heart or dream fulfillment. And there's this feeling almost of having to let some part of either the dream follow a past dream, or letting some part of yourself as you discover your truth, as you it's almost like the individual here, because this is, the Four of Swords is the knight in repose. It is the same knight on this horse, but he is sitting here and he is contemplating the 3 swords on the wall. And what is the one sword out of the 4 swords he's going to walk out and up and away from instead of the 3 swords, he's deciding to just kind of hang up and walk away, and that's it. And this is that moment of where you get to find your truth and you get to go out there and start to wield it. And I think that's what's going to help you to realize, again, some aspect of your experience that needs to be transformed, because there's a part of the dream, the part of this is emotional fulfillment that for some of you, I think you've realized has been a little out of reach. We look at the knight, and the knight has his back turned to that. And this possibly can be where you've been holding yourself back. This might be why you've been holding yourself back in the physical, because there's the negative thoughts going on, there's the fear, and there's that feeling very similar to the Four of Pentacles of, I don't want to release that. Now, this can also be not wanting to release something truly in the physical. That one needs to be transformed is a physical aspect of your experience. That this can be, where you actually have to maybe deplete your bank account a little bit to invest physically in something else. Or this might mean that you need to maybe downsize in the home, and you have to actually go through all of your belongings and realize that there's a lot of stuff you can get rid of, or that might be tied to a past version of yourself. Or this can be even where you're just kind of hoarding your time. Maybe you have a lot of time suddenly, a lot of free time. And instead of maybe investing in this, let's say, going out and enjoying time with others, or working on that hobby you always said you were going to pick back up, or writing the book, or whatever it is, there's something here where you're not willing to put that little bit in, because I think somehow it's going to lead to this transformation. This transformation that's going to bring something to an end. Now we're going to get a little deeper into the challenge here. So we'll see what the challenge is, advice from Spirit, and then what is the potential on the other side if you can really allow yourself to, I think, get excited about releasing something. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, when I'm seeing the the 10 of Cups with Death on top, there's also a feeling here of perhaps some of you have realized, especially as you're sitting here, in reflection, realizing how much a dream was not realized. And that can be hard. That can be hard when you really wanted something for a long time, and it's time now to maybe release that, or realize. And that's interesting because we have the Princess of Swords here, which is the Page of Swords coming in. But this can be where almost like you had because of some communication or something around a truth that was revealed, that there is a transformation in a heart's fulfillment and a wish fulfillment. This can be where suddenly the truth comes to light that something is different in your family, or that you really want something. There can be, I do feel there's like this wanting of more, and realizing that something really has to be let go. And that's something that could be let go. Again, when we're looking at kind of swords and we're in the mind, this can literally be just letting go on a mental level some aspect of self-doubt. Yeah, and here we have at the end here, we have the Ace of Swords. This is the new truth. This is the start of you moving forward and sharing. I think for some of you, and I'm going to say this too because I'm getting many different messages, Libra. This is a very difficult reading right now for me to express, because sometimes it's very clear, very to the point, but for many of you, I think you're kind of all in a different area here, because I'm hearing a lot of different messages. So for some of you, this can be actually where you see your truth, you see where you've been holding yourself back mentally by kind of replaying the wounds of the past, and you go out there to actually express something about a 10 of Cups that you want to achieve for yourself and have not. And that is going to bring in the transformation, but that does mean that something will have to be released. When we think of death, I speak to this in many of my videos, that when we think about our ability in the physical to understand the principles of matter, matter is never nothing. Basically, nothing comes from nothing, if that makes sense. And matter is never destroyed, but matter needs to be kind of reformed to create something new. So that's really what the death energy represents here. That there is it's almost like you have to take away one dream to reorganize it into the new dream, or you have to let, again, a part of your experience go. This might come in and say, you know what, I've never wanted to live in the suburbs in a house with the 2.5 kids, and I just have to express that to my significant other. And suddenly a part of your experience must, and we have to realize that when we do express ourselves in that way, and we realize we hit on this hard truth, sometimes, especially with the Wheel of Fortune coming in the middle, this is going to mean that this could be the end of a relationship, or it could be the rebirth of a relationship, or it could be the end of living in a specific way, or it could mean the end of working in a specific way, but it can be very beneficial. So this is, when we're thinking about this whole challenge, this is what Spirit's asking you to really face, so that you can unlock, open a door to a higher potential for yourself. So we have the Magician coming in as your main point of challenge. And this is a reminder that we are the magician in our own life. We hold the magic. We are the ones that understand how to work with all the different elements, with our mind, our passion, our emotions, and our physical experience. And we're the ones that get to play with all of that to create our experience. It's what we call manifesting. And it can be a difficult realization sometimes to realize just the sheer amount of power that we as the individual hold in impacting our everyday life experience. Because we can sometimes get away from that. We can become feeling very disempowered, that we can get to a place where we forget that it's our magic. It's our life that we live, and no one can live it for us. And we can get to a place where we lose sight not only of the magic within us, but the magic that lies external to us. But we can also forget our own responsibility in living the life that we want to live, and living in pursuit of the 10 of Cups, which is that true kind of happiness and joy and fulfillment on all levels. And with the Princess of Swords, which is technically the Page of Swords coming in under here, there's a feeling of trying to gain context on who you are, especially who you are now, trying to gain context in what is the magic you bring to the table, what what is your ability to create for yourself? And maybe where have you potentially kind of left the responsibility that should lie on your shoulders and you've put that on someone else? Or you just haven't wanted to bear the burden. When we think about it, when we are kind of plagued with that mental clutter of I'm not good enough, or somebody might judge me, or I can't get up to that level in my work, whatever it is here, those three swords that need to be left on the wall, there's a feeling here now of really trying to I think for some of you there's that realization of, wow, these were just thoughts in my mind. These weren't actually things holding me back aside from just me replaying them. I hold the magic. If I want to sit here and transform the home that I don't want to live in into something else, well, kind of like the fairy godmother in Cinderella, I have the ability to move. I have the ability to put my house on the market, or I have the ability to upsize and look for a place with more bedrooms so that I can bring in a roommate. Whatever it is that you need, you realize I have that ability. I don't have to sit here and because in the past somebody told me you shouldn't just move to a new location without really understanding what's going on, or you shouldn't downsize because everybody wants the big house, and if you don't have the big house, well, then you're nobody. It's those kinds of things that keep us kind of locked in this place of realizing we're each living our own individual life, and it's the magic that we bring that manifests the life that we choose, that we want to live. Because again, when we think about heaven on earth, we think about touching that point that would really bring us true joy and emotional fulfillment. That is truly an individual experience. No two people are going to line up exactly on what their vision of heaven would be, or what their vision of heaven on earth would be. So keep that in mind. Now, if you can kind of start to own the responsibility of owning your magic, the Wheel of Fortune comes in. This is at the heart of your reading, very powerful position, and it's what Spirit is asking you to embrace right now to overcome and move through, I think, this kind of maybe fear point or just staying in a point of reflection instead of moving forward now with your truth. Is the Wheel of Fortune is that the wheel is always turning. But this is stating that the wheel is turning in your favor now. There is a flow of energy kind of propelling you forward. It's almost like if you think about being like in a wave, it's like, here we go. And it's the energy of true, let me see how I can say it. It's the energy of the wheels in your favor. Now, it doesn't always mean that. I mean, the wheel just in and of itself means that the wheel is always turning. So we have to keep that in mind. We may be at the bottom of the wheel and it's turning, and we will be at the top the next go around. So it's always saying that, where we are now will change in position at some point. But when it's coming in this position in my reading here, this is stating this is almost kind of like the slingshot. This is like being in the water park and you get to that point where all of a sudden you hit the jet in the lazy river and it kind of shoots you around the curve. But it's hard to take advantage of that when we're sitting here unaware, when we're too in our heads, when we're not realizing that, okay, I have the ability, I have this flow of energy. What do I want to make happen for myself? And what can I release? This would be like coming up to the lazy river and you're carrying, everything you've ever collected with you in the physical up to this point. It's like, well, when you hit that slingshot point, you're going to slow yourself down. So that's why I was hearing here, clean out the clutter mentally, so that when the kind of mental slingshot comes through, you're going to be very clear about standing firm and tall in your magic, because that's the Queen of Wands. For me, the Queen of Wands is the energy of kind of the witch archetype in the tarot. She's the one that owns her magic. She understands how to work with her passions and how to take action to manifest what she wants, no matter where she is. She owns that kind of that saying of no matter where you are, there you are. Well, that's her. It doesn't matter if she's in Antarctica or in the Sahara or, in the Amazon, what she wants to bring in for herself, she's going to find and create. And she's a highly attractive individual, meaning she pulls magnetically individuals to her through her passion. And that's what you have the ability to step into, the energy of the Queen of Wands. And with that comes the Ace of Swords, the aha. This is mental clarity. It's like, in a way, that idea that just kind of comes in out of the blue of like, oh my God, I never saw that until this moment. Or, wow, this is me. And what I love about it is it's clarified by the Hermit. And the Hermit is truly the energy of going within to find your magic. It's going within to find those hopes and dreams that are hidden within you, but to then bring them outside, to put them in your lantern and hold that as the light that you take your next steps by. So you are in the light of your 10 of Cups. You're in the light of the magic that you bring. You go within to discover it. And I think for some of you, the Ace of Swords is that clarity as to your own magic, as to how special and unique you are, as to how there's a version of yourself that you must let go that is less, that you felt was less than this version of you waiting to come out. But you first must realize that the magic lies within you. All right, so let's go ahead and pull some clarifiers. Libra, let's see here. This is a very interesting reading. This is a reading that really speaks. I know, Libra, you've been kind of coming to this point of transformation for a long time, but it's also been through a lot of emotional turmoil and struggle. Yeah, so we have the Page of Swords again, so double confirmation here with the trying to find context. And there's a feeling here of, maybe feeling a little naive in your truth. When we think about this individual finally realizing, okay, this is the sword I take forward, he might be a little clumsy with that sword. That can be where you have to go back out there, like almost with a childlike enthusiasm to say, I'm going to practice with this truth. I'm going to go out there and realize that it's my sword. This is my truth. This is who I am. This is what I uniquely bring to every situation. And I'm going to go out there optimistically understanding that the more that I work with it, the more that I share it, that I will get proficient at using it, and it's going to unlock something much greater for myself. And there can always be a fear of that. Sometimes when we realize how much we've been holding ourselves back versus how much, especially through self-doubt, especially when it's through the judgment of our own judgment that we place on ourselves through the voices of others in our head. That parent that told us that we weren't good enough, or the boss that told us, we were, not good at X, Y, or Z, or the romantic partner that told us we weren't lovable. It's those people's voices coming through, and yet those are truly just your own voice criticizing you, judging you. So we have 8 of Coins, 3 of Wands, and 3 of Cups. Yeah. 8 of Coins says keep working at something. For many of you, with the 3 of Cups and the 3 of Wands, there is something coming in to be celebrated. And for some of you, what is coming in is a social group. The 3 of Cups can be others who celebrate with you on an equal basis. You get to bring your cup to the party, and they get to bring theirs. This can be kind of like finding your tribe, as it's called many times. But this shows with the 8 of Pentacles coming in that you have to keep working at something in the physical. You have to keep working and perfecting probably whatever you can manifest with this new connection to your truth and finding the magic within. And the more that you focus on doing this, on doing one thing at a time, one step at a time, perfecting, this is what's going to bring in something to be celebrated with others, or it will bring in, I'm getting a feeling, close connections with others. Okay, and for some of you, maybe that's what you're craving. Maybe you're just craving that communion. And it says keep working at that. Sometimes what I see, oh, and I love it. Here's the Ten of Cups again. Okay, so double confirmation here. Sometimes what this can also refer to is continuing to work on yourself. A lot of times we want to bring in that supportive group of people, or we want to bring in something that can be celebrated by others that we get to be a part of. But we have to kind of, like the individual here, he's very focused. We have to kind of keep our head down and work on ourselves, and with the faith and the knowledge that this is waiting for us, that this is what we're building is going to bring in. So there's a lot that speaks here with the Magician and the Hermit, and the Death card coming in, that speaks to a time of reflection, a time of realizing again where you've been kind of holding yourself back, and now where you really need to focus physically in getting yourself kind of ready for this new you, for whatever's having to be released, for whatever's coming in place of that. Okay, so with the Ten of Cups coming in for the Page of Swords here, I think for some of you, there's a new truth you're experiencing around what the Ten of Cups represents for you. There's this feeling of kind of trying to gain context and trying to realize, okay, well, if I'm changing, if I have a new truth, if I really just admit to myself fully and get rid of all of these other negative thoughts from, all this past wounding, what is it that I really want? What is the truth of my idea of heaven or my emotional fulfillment? And that can be hard when we kind of take a step back and we're like, I don't even know what that is. I'm trying to gain clarity on it, but I'm not quite sure. So for the Wheel of Fortune, we have the World and the Queen of Coins. Oh, interesting. So the World's that kind of hard and fast stop. It says a major cycle is done. Kind of wrap it up. But if you notice, then we have the Queen of Coins, and the Queen of Coins is the energy of the mother archetype. And it's interesting because these cards kind of mirror each other and what they look like. She's sitting on, what seems to be almost like maybe the globe, the world. And she looks like she could be kind of nurturing that into existence. So it's an interesting, dynamic here that you could actually be giving. Technically, you could be nurturing something into life while something else must be released. And I get the feeling here with the Wheel of Fortune that in order for you to kind of make use of the energy that's in your favor, there really needs to be this kind of single-minded focus and a patient focus. Because when we think of, creating something that we might give birth to, there is that feeling of it takes time. A pregnant woman doesn't just turn around and have a baby. She has to wait patiently and do all of the things she needs to do, the Eight of Pentacles, to make sure that she's healthy, to make sure that then everything is set up externally to allow for that child to come into the world in a safe and secure way. And I think for some of you, that's what you're being asked to do right now, is to kind of put a hard and fast stop to a part of yourself that maybe was less stable, that was plagued by negative thoughts, plagued by mental judgment, plagued by fear, and that now it's time for you to move forward in a way where you are focused on creating the structure and nurturing into existence through your own magic your Ten of Cups, what you want to bring in. But again, that needs to really realize that something has to be released for you then to refocus the energy on creating, again, space for the new, space for what you want to kind of birth into the physical. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pull for the Queen of Wands, Four of Wands. Okay, building a foundation from a place of passion that you can be celebrated with. Okay, it was the Two of Coins, or Two of Swords, I'm sorry, on top of that. For some of you, there might be this indecision a little bit around what do you want to build with your magic, or there can be indecision about possibly a marriage or a relationship, or maybe you feel disempowered. But since this is a general reading, I'm going to take it as there's a little bit of this kind of lack of clarity as to, well, what do I want to build? What do I want to create a foundation that's going to be celebrated by others? Because that's really what the Four of Wands is. It's that feeling of getting to a point, a foundational point that, it can be like, opening the doors to a new business and everybody comes and says and claps and you get to ribbon cut. This can be getting married and realizing, in front of all your friends and family, the beautiful foundation of love you've created with somebody else. But there's something here around, with the Two of Swords, there's this kind of, I don't want to see, or I feel like I can't see what that is for myself, what I want to build, or who I want to celebrate with. And with the Two of Swords, there's always this feeling of having to go back in and trust your intuition. She holds two swords, right? And it's hard for you to see, well, which sword is mine? They both look the same. They both feel the same physically. But it's when she blindfolds herself and goes within that one stands out. The one truth is your truth. And I think that there's going to be that moment of revelation, again, with the single sword coming in, as to it was never a choice. It was never a decision. There is something that you really want that you need to start working towards, that you need to start bringing into being. And that can be that relationship, that can be the foundation for a business, that can be any type of foundation, in any type of, in whatever way you want to build something that's going to continue to grow and bring eventually in the Ten of Cups. Okay, so now let's get some clarifiers for the final one, the Ace of Swords. Let's see what you need to know about this. Aha. Yeah. Oh, the Star, of course. So the Star and the Hermit, these are two cards that mirror each other. The Star is the realization that we always have our own unique guiding star, that unique hope, dream, wish that is in the sky that we kind of use as our guiding North Star. And then the Hermit is the realization that actually is not external to us. It lies within us, and that it is understanding that the star, those hopes and dreams, come from within. They are unique to us, and then we put them in our lantern so that we can see by the light of our star. And I love that this came in just like that, because I think that's what the revelation is. That dream, the true dream, the dream that you, I think, felt that you had to let go of at some point, or that you had to change or edit because of what someone else told you, or the judgments of others, or, again, just negative wounding. And this is saying, no, the realization is your truth directly connects to that dream, directly connects also to your magic. It's kind of like, if you can feel it and you can see it, well, you can create it. And that's what you're being asked to do here, is to really step up into a place of personal responsibility for owning your magic, owning your ability to bring in the right people and the right circumstances through you simply choosing to start to work towards the star. And in a way that is, when you think about a mother, she is kind of selfish, right? She's going to do what she needs to do to make sure that her child is taken care of, and that she herself is also taken care of. So she will, give herself the time to rest, or, make sure she's eating correctly. And it might not be what everybody else wants to eat. And it might, she might have to say, well, I'm not going to vacuum the house today, or I'm not going to, I need to leave, from work early because I'm exhausted and I know that this isn't good for me. So there's an element here of kind of getting a little bit more into that mindset of being, channeling your own inner mother and getting to be a little selfish for yourself. It's time. It's time, because the energy is in your favor. And I think there's, again, a revelation of a deep connection to a dream that has been left unfulfilled for a long time, but also that dream that's directly connected to what lies within you. There is going to be an unlocking of some aspect of yourself, I think, that you either had not realized was there, or that had so long been pushed down that when this, you can see her eyes here, when you feel it, when you see the truth of how much you've pushed down about yourself and what you're truly capable of, there might be a little bit of this kind of fiery Aries anger coming through of like, what the heck? Why did I wait so long? And that could be where this, Knight of Swords comes in, where it's kind of like you go out there on this mission and say, you know what? This is what I wanted. And I don't have it, or I didn't get it, or I told myself I wasn't good enough for it, and it's time for something to end. And I'm gonna do it over again. And that's where the holding back is, and you're gonna realize that's where I need to start. It's time for me to stop holding back there. It's time for me to invest. It's time for me to change jobs. It's time for me to, whatever it is, pay someone to clean up my house. But there's something here that you're gonna realize, that's where I've been holding myself back. And there's going to be a deep revelation here of like that moment of like the lights get turned on and you're like, holy cow, how much have I been holding myself back? Okay, so let's go ahead here. But I do want to say with this, Magician card coming in here with the eight of coins, 3 of wands, and the 3 of cups, you have a very big potential to bring in a beautiful friend group, a beautiful support system, if you can really own your magic and just, keep steadily working, steadily owning your magic. Okay. But with an eye to the 10 of cups, with an eye to what that heaven on earth is for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull 3 additional cards here for additional advice from Spirit. So we have, for the first card, this is for curiosity, and this is where Spirit would like you to be open and curious as to where you might be blocking yourself from really, I think, owning the message here, owning the realization of the dream to yourself or the dream unfulfilled, and now realizing it's within your power to go for it. So it says storm warning 10, breaking down to a 1. So it says endings and beginnings. I'm going to pull some additional clarifiers here. So when we think of storm warning, there is something to be said that, there's always going to be times when things get a little crazy. But this card also in this deck speaks to the fact that at any given time, storms kind of need to come through to clear things out, that nothing is going to, and this actually reminds me very much of the death card here, that just like no one can escape death, no matter who you are, when you think about it, like you can see here, it looks like there's kind of like ruins of, an ancient lost like Roman or Greek temple, that nothing can stand the true test of time, if that makes sense. That there's always going to be something that is external to us that will come in and tear something down. And no matter whether it's our largest skyscraper today or whether it was a Mayan temple, hundreds of years ago or even a couple thousand years ago, that time and nature and just the weathering of the elements, those things are going to come in and break those down. And with this, it's almost like the realization that we need to, just like it's a natural process in general, kind of this like tearing down to rebuild. We think again, breaking down matter to have it reformed. It's be curious as to where you're afraid to break something down about yourself or to break through a barrier, even internally, whether it's your thoughts or emotions, where you are afraid to just kind of let the elements come in, scatter everything to the wind and see what remains. See what the true truth of remains. Let's see what's here. We have the Emperor. Ooh, Knight of Swords again. Okay, so here's that Knight of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. Interesting. You've got there's going to be a lot of key players here for looking at this from a personal reading perspective. But the Emperor, I think for some of you, with the Emperor and the Knight of Swords, there's been a realization as to where there's been someone kind of at play where you felt that they have been kind of ruling over you. And I think there's a realization here of with the Two of Pentacles, realizing that there's a choice in changing up what you do day to day. The Two of Pentacles can truly be the day-to-day tasks that we have where we're prioritizing things. And with the Knight of Cups, this is a card of Pisces. It's a card that speaks to kind of going out into the world again as the hopeful, romantic, ready to hold your cup out vulnerably to others, but getting ready to go on kind of that adventure of love of life again. Now, for some of you, this can be a communication that needs to take place around, I think, maybe where you've been kind of holding yourself back, where you're like, what's tying you up in your day to day from feeling like you're kind of falling back in love with life again, connecting on that emotional place. Or this can be telling someone in your life with the Emperor, whoever this Emperor represents, whether this is a parent, whether this is a romantic partnership, whether this is even a friend or a boss. This can be having to go in and say, like, look, I need to change it up for myself. I need to go out there and feel like this again. I need to fall back in love with life. I need to go in search of my 10 of Cups. And that means that I'm going to be prioritizing something differently in my life. This can be going to a boss and saying, I need to take that leave of absence. I need to take a sabbatical for 3 months to go out into the world and find myself again, because I've realized that I have gotten so far off track from the dream that it's time for me to do that. And this is my first step. And this is kind of that realization with the storm warning that, that's going to shake things up. You're shaking up your schedule, your routine. You might come to your boss and ask for that, and they might say, no, so sorry, we're not going to grant that. And then it's on you to say, well, then I quit. But it's also on you to then say, then what is out there for me? If this obviously wasn't worth it enough for me to stay, then what is worth it for me? Like what is part of this grand adventure as part of my 10 of Cups? What am I looking for? What do I want to nurture into existence? Whether it's a work environment, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a home dynamic, or a family dynamic, what is that? So, take a look at where you're shying away from, possibly kind of, again, bringing that storm in yourself, making things kind of go crazy. This could be like where maybe you lived in the same place for 30 years. You have 30 years worth of stuff accumulated in your house, but all you really want to do now is move. But that in moving, you're going to have to face and let the storm come in and face the fact that you're going to have to go through all these boxes. You're going to have to look at all the furniture. You're going to have to go through all the clothes, and you're going to have to just kind of tear it up, and it's going to be messy, and some stuff is going to get lost or given away. But it's all in an effort to change what you do day to day and to face the Emperor in your life, whoever this is, so that you can go back out as the Knight of Cups. I really like that. And I kind of like it too. Again, I like that the Knight of Cups and the Death card they mirror each other as well. Their stance on the horse. And there's this feeling of letting go of this past version of yourself, or letting go of something that's been holding you back through this Emperor that hasn't allowed you to be the Knight of Cups. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a card here for the concept of courage. And this is where Spirit's going to ask you to be courageous and surrendering some aspect of your experience to the energy that's on this card, so that you can be courageous in acting within your own behalf, within your own best interest. So let's see here. What does Spirit want to let you know? Where to be courageous and surrendering. And we have surrender the idea you can fix someone. It says it's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. And I do feel like this is kind of getting down to the Emperor, whoever this Emperor is in your life. This can be this can be very broad in that, let's say staying in a place of work because you feel that you can fix it, because you see all of these points and problems, but you're the one that can, point out the issues and find the solutions. And yet maybe it's the realization of, but is that really on your shoulders? Or can you put down that stress and go someplace else that already has all of those problems fixed, or that never had them to begin with, and you get to just come in and enjoy the work? But this can also get to be very specific. This can be like staying in a relationship because you feel that you can change someone. And I'm going to speak to this out of my own experience. My previous relationship, I'm married now, but my ex-husband, we were in a dynamic much like this. And it was where I felt if I stayed with this individual and continued to love them even more and show them even more how special they were, that they would in turn love themselves enough to stop hurting themselves on, both emotional and physical level. And the hard lesson I had to learn was, not only can we not fix someone else who needs to go through their own healing process, but in the process, I hurt myself, and I held myself back from pursuing a dream for a long time. And then when I left that, I played out that whole scenario again in my work environments over and over and over again. So really keep this in mind, that this is kind of at the true heart of your reading here, Libra, and I have a Libra moon placement. So this is, this hits home for me as well on an emotional level. And this reading is actually kind of having me replay some of my past issues around this. So I understand what you're going through here, but there's this feeling here of, again, kind of reevaluating, your truth versus someone else's truth. And it's true, we really can't fix other people, be it our negative boss. No matter how positive we are, it's never going to change that they are just a negative person. Or no matter how, we could put this on anything. Pick a family member. Our brother will always be the person who is jealous of you, or your mother will always be the person who just doesn't understand who you are. But it's not on you to continue to maintain that relationship, hoping that that person will change or that you can fix them. This is stating it's time for you to go. The wheel is turning. You have an opportunity to step into your magic, to really pursue, to get back on track to pursuing your 10 of Cups, your dream, your wish, your hope. And with the Knight of Swords, you have the ability to communicate that and then move towards it. Okay, I'm going to pull just a couple extra cards here just to see if there's any other additional messages that want to come out before I pull our final two cards. So we have the Four of Pentacles, and there it is. Okay, that's it. This is the Four of Pentacles. This is where why you've been holding yourself back. Because you've been waiting for someone that you want to fix. You've been holding yourself back from going out and filling out a bunch of, new resumes to get another job, because you've been hoping that your current place of work is that all your ideas and all the emails you've sent and all the discussions you've had with your owner or boss, that it's going to change. And it's just saying, no, it's time to just move forward towards your dream. And your dream doesn't start here. Or this is like saying, I don't want to invest in that home because I need my significant other, my partner, to first be on board with this. And this is saying, well, your partner may never be on board with it. And this is where you have to realize, how much is that dream worth it to you? And then we have the Lovers. Yeah. What do you love? Who do you love? Now, this could be holding yourself back from following what you love. You might have discovered a new passion. Or it could be that, again, because of your focus on trying to wait for someone to be fixed, that you've held yourself back from so long in either experiencing this romantically, experiencing following what you love in your work environment, where you get to go into a job you just, love to go to every day. Or this can be even in your like a family dynamic where you get to have that feeling of family that you've always wanted, that feeling of acceptance. Okay, I'm going to pull, but this is saying it's time. That's where you need to release. We all want to fix somebody. We all can see a better way for most of the people around us. We can probably, tell many people what they could be doing better. But again, it's not on us. It's, that person has to see it themselves and make the changes themselves, just like you have the ability to make the change yourself. And that is, again, if you can step up into the magician and make the change yourself, there comes the support. So it says the crumbling. What are you clinging to? Yeah, and this card represents the kind of tower energy in the tarot. What are you clinging to? Look at this. This person is literally clinging to a doorway that is scary with the storm raging, and yet you could walk through into the beautiful land of Oz or heaven on the other side of this door. So I think that's a beautiful point of contemplation for you to keep here as this final point of advice. What have you been clinging to and not allowing yourself to step forward into your vision of heaven on earth, into what you love, into who you love, into being in a supportive environment? What are you clinging to? Who is this emperor to you? Is this emperor a romantic partner? Is this emperor a boss? Is this emperor your father? Is this emperor a place of work? It can be any and all, and maybe even something additional. So really keep that in mind. This is a really empowering reading. I hope I don't feel like I'm preaching or being preachy. This is that empowering reading of really strongly coming through. Make the change. Own that you are worthy. This is a very similar reading to what came through for Virgo. Own that you are worthy of your 10 of Cups, and allow something of the past to be released so that your 10 of Cups can come in, that dream can come in, that love that you wish to have fulfilled on some aspect in your life. It's ready, it's waiting, it's right there, but you have to be the one to initiate that change. Okay, so I'm going to pull a final card here for the concept of the spiritual lesson, the overarching spiritual lesson that you're learning about yourself, Libra, this month. So let's go ahead, pull a final card here. I'm going to read the full excerpt from the book that comes with this oracle deck. So you get an additional message here that doesn't come directly from me on an intuitive level. Okay, and we have Earth Healing, number 38. I love that because number 38 reduces down to the number 11, which is the number of the doorway between what is and what can be when we co-create with spirit, when we have that faith and we walk through that doorway. So let's go ahead and see what Earth Healing has to say here. It says, you are making a real contribution to the planet through your spiritual journey. Remember this and believe that your needs will be generously met by the earth and the universe. What you are doing matters and you will be supported. The earth recognizes you. She sees you as a conduit through which she is fed higher frequencies of light, love, and divine presence. This assists her on the journey of her own evolution. Earth is an exceptionally beautiful and powerful divine being in her own right. Yet she, like every other being, benefits from the assistance of higher frequencies, which offer a loving hand to help raise her vibration and continue her evolution. You are here to have your spiritual life journey in a human body. Part of that process will involve sharing your light with the earth itself. This may see you take on the role of a healer, guide, mentor, or teacher to others on the path. It may see you doing work with the natural world with various earth-centered causes such as conservation and animal welfare, organic and biodynamic farming, and ethical food production. It may involve an active prayer life that is ongoing through your day, praying for assistance, compassion, clearing, and blessing when you see an accident on the road, an animal or person who seems to be suffering, or an item on the news that you know needs light and healing. From the most obvious gestures to the more subtle, the oracle tells you that you are powerful enough to make a meaningful contribution to the quality of consciousness upon Earth. Earth asks you to do your work with quiet confidence and dedication. She gives thanks for all you have done and acknowledges her love for you. She will support you in your work by providing material means for you while you are here on this planet. These include financial support, housing, food, and human and animal relationships. She will also provide guidance for your progress, opportunities to grow and expand your field of influence, education and training opportunities, the means to take advantage of them, and the chance to apply what you have learned in a real-world context. The more you devote yourself to your task of earth healing, the more the earth will support you in fulfilling your inspired goals. If you have been wondering if the spiritual work you are doing is making a contribution, take this oracle as validation that it is. What you are doing matters. Yes, you are going to expand and grow in the work you are doing and the impact that you have in the world because you are capable of that. But you are already helping in ways that you may not realize, but that the earth and the spiritual worlds do. You have loved the earth enough to take human form and do your work here. She knows it, and she will reward you richly for it. Keep working, shining, and growing, dear one. Your presence here is so needed and honored. And I will leave you with that, Libra. What a beautiful message to end on. You are needed. The work that you do is very important. When we talk about spiritual importance, well, here is that message. It's very important to our collective experience. But first, you have to free yourself to realize, I think, fully not only what you want to do and what you can be of service doing, but that you can love it at the same time, and that therein that brings in that connection to heaven on earth, that connection to your feelings of happiness and joy. It's in sharing who you are authentically. It's falling back in love with life again. And it's following your heart, following your star, and getting very clear that you have the power to manifest this in your experience. And in doing so, by just following your dream, you will be of service to the collective experience. All right, Libra, I will leave that here. If anyone would like to book a personal reading with me or just to learn more about the services that I offer, you can click on the link in the description box below. Otherwise, I will see you all over in January for the next Illumination reading. I am sorry, Libra, that you are the last one and that this came out so late, but you will be one of the first to get yours next month. And I am hoping to post a miracle reading for each sign later on in the month of December as well. I will also be posting 2 videos coming into January that are going to be focused on a discussion I have around people who I think have fear on both sides about, religion versus following more of this kind of tarot reading, astrology, and numerology, following the things that are more associated with the occult and seeing where we can actually combine both. We don't have to be guilty on one side or the other. And what we believe, we actually have the ability as humans to be spiritually adaptive enough to realize that we can utilize both organized religion and the spiritual arts or the spiritual methods like this that are assigned to the occult, that they can elevate different aspects of our experience. And then I also have a short video that I filmed around fear of authentic self-expression, why we have that and why it's important to overcome it and how we can. All right, Libra, I will leave it here. Have a wonderful month of December, and I will see you all in January for the next Illumination reading. Bye.